Hello everyone, welcome back to Nimsite. Today, as part of the Australia series, I'm here with a video that I thought could be informative and helpful to a whole lot of people, especially migrants and students who are new to Australia. So I'm going to talk about the scams that are prevalent in Australia. In Australia, in the past months itself, there have been millions of dollars that scamsters or fraudsters have collected based on various kinds of online scams. So there are a whole lot of scams. Obviously, I cannot cover all of that in this video, but I thought I'll speak about some of those scams which I personally have experienced and how you can beware and avoid yourselves from falling into that trap. So let's move on to the video. So the first kind of scam that I'm going to talk about is the ATO or tax related scams. I remember when I first came to Australia, I was very new to Australia. I got this call from a number. It seemed to be very legitimate, like, the tone at which they spoke was like actually some executive was calling me. So they told me that there was some problems with my tax number, TFN number, and they need to verify all my things, my banking details, my name, etc. And because I was so new to Australia and I had just applied for a TFN few weeks back only, I was almost about to fall into the trap. I started, giving my details. I started giving my number, date of birth. And then they asked me about my address and bank information. That's when I thought that something doesn't seem to be right. I disconnected the call. I, spoke to my partner, my family member, and, they told me that this is a scam for sure. There's no way any organization would call you and ask you for your banking details, your other kind of extra details. There would be proper source of communication, a proper email, proper things, if at all they need that information. So this is one kind of scam that a lot of people fall into, and because it's directly related to your personal things like your tax file number and all, there is a high probability that you may fall into it. So yeah, please be careful next time you get any kind of call. The next type of scam is those phishing messages, emails, text messages that you get, where it could actually appear that they're coming from legitimate organizations, and they might ask you for information, or they might tell you that there is some overdue amount that you need to pay. For example, I'll show some messages here that I personally received, and they are definitely not legitimate. For example, link toll message that I got saying that there is a overdue reminder, a credit card message that I got that there is an overdue reminder of I have breached my credit card limit, etc. And there could be some calls that you might get also saying that there has been some kind of activity on your credit card, or your Amazon Prime account has been disconnected due to an unwanted action. Please give us all the details and then we might reactivate it, stuff like that. So if you receive these kind of calls, there is a high probability that these are all scams. So next time you get any of these calls, please be very careful and not give out any details which are not required. The next scam that I'm going to talk about is a scam that is quite sad because it literally played with the emotions of parents and family members. It's called the family impersonation or hi mum scam. There are a lot of Australians who fell prey to this particular scam, and the fraudsters again have collected around $2 million as per reports. So in this scam, there are people or scamsters who pose as a family member or as children and say that they have lost their phone or damaged their phone and they need some money to get it repaired, and they're messaging from another number. So I personally have received some such messages, and being parents, there is a high probability that you might fall into the scam as well. So please be careful if you get these kind of messages, as they also might not be legitimate. Next type of scam that is very common, especially in FB Marketplace and Messenger, are related to recruitment scams. There could be some job ads or websites that seem to be so good to be true, that they give you high income and per hourly wages are so high, and they seem to be so appealing, and often you're so desperate for a job that there is a high probability that you might end up clicking those. And they definitely they sometimes tell you that you will get this payment or this income in return of some payment. So there are a lot of Australians who have fallen prey to this as well in the last year. So if you receive these kind of messages, or if you have doubt that this does not seem to be true, just follow your gut. There is a high probability that they are not legitimate. There are other type of scams that are not really prevalent in Australia but in other places as well. There is a dating scam where they ask you if you're interested in a relationship, and you can cultivate a relationship online, and then they might end up asking you to send some money overseas to an online account. So be careful, these could also be like really fake. Then telecommunication scam where they will ask you that is there a problem with your desktop, or there are high chances that at that time you could face problems with your desktop, etc. Or they might tell that can you give us remote access to your desktop, and while you're doing that they will ask you to log into your internet banking or log into something, and they might steal your credentials. So that is another way that you might get scammed. Then there's this lottery scams where they tell you that you have won this enormous amount of prizes. To claim that, click on this link, and when you click on this link you might have to give other details. So these are these other scams also that are really common. So this was a general example of all the scams that are really going around in Australia. There are other examples as well. If you have experienced any kind of scam or you want to talk about it, put that in the comments as well. That would be helpful for a whole lot of people. Now, I'm going to talk about some tips that can help you to avoid being scammed or avoid falling into these kind of traps. Number one is, whenever you get a message or an email from government institutions or banking institutions, please check the source of the message or the email. Especially if it is a scam email, there would be some pattern in that email that is not right. Either there would be a spelling mistake or some extra special characters, or some pattern or numbers in between. So that can help you in identifying if it is a scam email. And in general, like I said before also, there is a high probability that if it is a legitimate government organization or institution, they might not directly send you a message or an email stating that they need details, etc. So it is usually the other way. You are either given proper contracts, or either you call them and then they take you through that whole process where they record your call or monitor it, and then you are asked for details step by step. Okay, so be careful that way. And second thing is, never give out your personal banking information to unwanted or unknown sources. So if you think it is not right, it is generally not right. Just follow your instincts and gut. And third thing is, if you are asked to transfer money to an overseas account, or if you are asked in an email or message, that they generally try to frighten you that if you don't do this you may face this consequence, or your account might be permanently blocked, etc. There is a high probability that these are scams, so don't fall into these as well. And in general, being updated about the different kinds of scams that are prevalent in the market is a good thing. Following up news is also a good thing that can actually help you in avoid getting yourself a prey to these kind of scams. So I hope this video was helpful. I have done other videos also related to Australia about my journey, information for international students, etc. If you found this video helpful, make sure to subscribe, and if you want to listen to more videos or any topics, put it down in the comments as well. Thank you so much. Content shared in this video is based on personal experience and research. If you enjoyed the video, like, share and subscribe. Keep watching, keep listening and continue learning.